The general's coffee cup shattered the instant I whispered my mother's name. A 3-star, the most decorated woman in the United States Army, stood rooted on the parade ground like a mortar had just detonated at her feet. Her eyes welled, her jaw locked, and her fingers curled around the silver bracelet on her wrist as if she suddenly regretted ever clasping it shut. "Please, Major," she rasped, voice splintering in a way no general ever allows on open ground. "Not here. Not in front of the formation. We need to talk now." And in that moment, for the first time in 23 months, something cracked open inside my chest. Not sorrow, not dread, but recognition. Because the second she touched that bracelet, the exact bracelet my mother was wearing the night her Humvee rolled, I knew every story I'd been told about her death was a lie. People think Green Berets are forged from unbreakable steel. Truth is, silence is the heaviest load we carry, especially the silence that settles after a parent's gone. I'd lived in it since the night the casualty officer knocked on my quarters door. I remember staring at my reflection afterward, telling myself I was still a soldier, still an officer, still whole. But grief doesn't salute rank. It seeps in between PT and perimeter sweeps, through missed birthdays and silent reveille. And it had left me orphaned at 36, a major with a chest full of ribbons and a heart full of ghosts. The morning the general arrived, the post crackled with tension. Sentries snapped salutes like rifle bolts. MPs double-checked every badge. Even the flag seemed to hang straighter. I was knee-deep in after-action reports when the rumor hit the ops center. "She's here." Landed at 0600 South Gate. A 3-star doesn't drop in on a CONUS training base for coffee. Whatever brought her wasn't on the schedule. I wasn't on her detail. I wasn't even cleared for the same building. But fate, or something darker, put me in the corridor the moment she strode through. The first thing I noticed wasn't the fruit salad on her chest or the command presence that parted aides like a bow wave. It was her left wrist. More precisely, the bracelet, hammered silver, turquoise inlay, a tiny etched mountain range my mother had commissioned in Kandahar. One of a kind. She'd worn it every deployment. The official report said it vanished in the blast. Seeing it again stole the air from my lungs. I tried to breathe past the shock, but the general looked up. Our eyes locked. For a heartbeat her mask slipped. Raw, unguarded. I didn't wait for the brief to end. When she stepped into the hallway flanked by staff, I cut straight across the tile. "General," I said, voice level, pulse hammering. "That bracelet. May I ask where you got it?" She halted. Her aides kept walking, assuming she'd follow. She didn't. She turned, studying my face like a map she'd lost decades ago. "This?" she asked, lifting her wrist. "Yes, ma'am. It's familiar." She stared longer than protocol allowed. Then her shoulders squared, eyes narrowed, bracing. "Who was your mother?" she asked, soft enough the aides didn't hear. The hallway stretched into infinity. Fluorescent lights buzzed. My throat closed, but I forced it out. "Command Sergeant Major Lena Voss." 2 heartbeats. Then her face fractured, grief, horror, guilt in one breath. She stepped back, fingers tightening on the bracelet like it might burn. "No," she whispered. "Not you. God, you're Lena's daughter." The world tilted. She yanked off her cover with trembling hands, something 3-stars don't do in corridors. "Major, we can't do this here. Secure room. Now." When a 3-star gives you a direct order in that tone, you obey. On the outside. Inside, my blood roared. We marched past walls of framed heroes, soldiers who'd never imagined secrets like the one I was about to inherit. She opened SCIF at the end of the hall, killed the lights, locked the door, dropped the blinds.
She didn't sit.
She stood gripping the chair back, staring at me like I was a ghost in dress greens. "You have her eyes," she said finally. The way she sized up a room before anyone else knew danger was coming. I couldn't answer. My mother had been gone 23 months. No one spoke her name anymore. Hearing it from a general who clearly knew her, sent heat and ice through my ribs. "General, I managed." That bracelet was custom. My mother wore it until the IED. The report said it was unrecoverable. She sank into the chair like the weight of 2 decades had landed at once. Sit, Major.
Y set.
Hands clasped to hide the tremor. She unclasped the bracelet, laid it on the table between us. Up close, every detail was unmistakable. The mountain etchings, the tiny dent where a round had ricocheted in '09. This belonged to Command Sergeant Major Lena Voss, she said quietly. Always did. My breath snagged.
How?
Your mother and I served together before you were walking. Black Ops, off-book, the kind of missions that never make the history books. She saved my life. She paused, eyes distant. We made these bracelets after. Sisterhood tokens.
Mine staje čini.
Hers, she never took it off. That doesn't explain why it wasn't in the wreckage. Or how it's on your wrist.
Her jaw flexed.
Because I pried it off for myself. The room shrank. The clock's second hand roared. You were there, I whispered. She nodded. Not at the blast. But I got notified before the first responders. Flew in undercover. Site wasn't secured yet. Vehicle was shredded. She swallowed. Lena didn't deserve that end. My hands went cold. Why take the bracelet? I meant to return it to you. But the investigation stank from minute one. Rushed photos, missing fragments, conclusions before forensics. I realized if the bracelet surfaced, it might vanish into evidence and never reach you. So I pocketed it. Wrong call. I thought I was guarding her memory. I pressed my sternum to steady my lungs. NCIS closed the case. Vehicle. Rollover. Mechanical failure.
Her eyes snapped to mine.
Closed because someone paid to close it. Heartbeat in my ears. Someone paid. She hesitated, guilt, fear, duty warring behind her irises. You deserve the truth. But it's ugly. Your mother was digging into procurement fraud, body armor, comms, vehicle kits. On paper, pristine. In reality, substandard junk that failed in the field. She wouldn't let it go. I leaned forward. She died because of gear? She died because she refused to let troops deploy with garbage. And because someone used you to threaten her silence. A blade twisted in my gut. Me? The general slid the bracelet toward me. She was protecting your promotion board. Your future. She confronted the contractor rep alone. 24 hours later, her convoy rolled.
No skid marks. No witnesses.
Investigation sealed in 72 hours. I stared at the bracelet, my mother's bracelet, and felt grief morph into something molten. Murder. She didn't deny it. For a long moment,